Using Visual Studio Code to write articles. In short, AI agents for writers, making documentations, content production. Visual Studio Code makes an excellent tool for that. And in this brief video, I'm going to show you how. Right now, you can see my setup. I've got Visual Studio installed and I have got a particular folder setup made, and that's the important thing. Now you can see the structure that I have got here. My root folder, well, there it says writing transcripts. My folder, I've made a folder on my desktop, and everything you're going to do goes inside that folder. Very important. So I've now opened that folder with Visual Studio Code. My folder is called Writing AI. Okay. Now, inside there, I have got a folder called .gemini. Now, you don't necessarily need that because I'm also using a tool known as Gemini CLI, which is also an excellent tool. But in order to keep this video short, I'm just going to concentrate on using Visual Studio Code. So that whole .gemini folder, you can ignore that for now. Then I've got another folder called .github. Now the .github is important for this project because that's how we are going to instruct Copilot, GitHub Copilot, to make the work done for us. Now, if you look inside my .github, here it is, and I've got a Copilot instructions, but all I've got inside there is please see, then /agents.md. So I'm actually pointing it to another file. Now that's important because as time goes on, you're going to find yourself using different AI agents, and it might be tedious having to give all of them instructions. So I've given one instructions inside an AGENTS.md, which is accepted by most agents these days. And in this file, I keep my writing style. Okay, so you can put the type of style that you want. Here I am based in the UK, and you can see I'm specifically telling it use British English spellings, and I've given it an example. And at the top, I've got a slight little overview. Now, this is for the sake of the agent that is going to be doing the proofreading of your documents for you. So let me come back to the README file. So that's the structure we've got there. Now, the other important thing you need to note is I've got an articles folder, and there it is, my articles folder. And let me just collapse this one for now, right? So there's my articles. This is my articles folder. And if I open it up, let me collapse some of these. All right, brilliant. Inside my articles folder, you can see the different files I've got: the archive, the drafts, the exports, the finals, images, pending, and PRD. Now you can pause this video to look at the structure that I've got so you can make up your own structure. But just to give you the essentials of this, when I write a draft, it goes inside my draft folder. Now, I am writing my articles with a language known as Markdown. Markdown is a very simple language to learn. It's just got a few pieces of code. It'll take you the best part of 30 minutes. Well, less than 30 minutes to learn it. And then from Markdown, you can have your article transformed into a Word document, into an HTML document, into a PDF. I won't cover that now, but if there's enough interest, I'll go and show you how you can do that all with the click of a button and just by loading an extension for Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I'm going to write my article. Now I say write. When I write articles, I actually will start writing. I'm not just going to ask AI to go and draft me an article for me. I am going to write it myself. It doesn't have to be all polished. Then I can pass it over to Visual Studio Code using one of its AI agents to help me polish it up and proofread it. Now, talking about proofreading, see my AGENTS.md, I had a few instructions, but Microsoft have fortunately given us a very complete Microsoft writing style guide. The Microsoft writing style guide is what we are going to be using, asking AI to use to check and proofread our documents. And to do that, we're going to include something which is known as an MCP server. You might have heard a lot about those and you're wondering what are they? They are really very simple to use. They simply give your AI model more up-to-date information. So we're going to install an MCP server, which is the Microsoft Learn server, which will give us access to the Microsoft Writing Style Guide. Now, to install that in Visual Studio Code, simply come into the box that you've got up here. You can see up there, and I'm going to click here and say, now I've typed in MCP before. If you haven't, just type in MCP and you'll see add server. I'm going to click on that and then click on browse MCP servers. And that will give you a list of the MCP servers. Okay, now you click on this browse. Now I've already done this, so I'm not going to go through that again. Just click on that browse MCP servers, and what will come up, search for Microsoft Docs. Microsoft Docs. Click on Microsoft Docs and it installs it. It's that simple. Okay, so once you've got that installed, let's come back in here now. We've got everything that we need. Let's have a test run. So I'm going to go into my drafts and I'm going to create a little document called VS Code for Writing MD. Now I've written this already, so it won't take too long. And I've made this very short. Okay, so here's Markdown. Notice there I've simply got a hash, and that makes it like a header. Now you see this little tab over here, it gives me a preview. If I click on that, you can see how this looks now. Simple text gets transformed into that by using Markdown. It just makes it easier to read. And then you can use another extension to change this into an HTML file if you want to put it on the web, or you could change it into a Microsoft if you want to publish it somewhere else. Now, if I wanted another paragraph along here, I could simply hit carriage return like that. It's that simple. And if I wanted to have a subheading, let me say further information to come later, I'm going to do this. Further resources. And you can notice that now, I haven't spelled resources correctly, but I'm going to leave it like that. Let's see how AI can help us sort that out. So you can see how Markdown works. Now, you can go and do a search on Markdown. It's very easy to learn. I don't want to cover too much of Markdown here. That's a different lesson altogether. Okay, so let me just close this down. So here I've got my Markdown file save. I am now going to run this. So see this little tab up here? This is how you call up your chat. And here comes my chat. Now I have got a paid version of GitHub Copilot. If you haven't got a paid version, you will still have access to chat, but you may not have all the different agents that I've got here. Now notice when I click on this little button here, you've got the agent mode, the ask mode, and the edit mode. For this, you have to be on the agent mode. And when you're on the agent mode, you can see you have got different AI agents, different models. Now, you may not have as many as I have here because I've got the paid version, but you will have the ones that are in this top level. Okay, so I am going to choose the GPT 4.1. That should be sufficient for what we want to do. Okay, since we have installed the Microsoft Learn server, that's what we installed when we did the Microsoft Docs. That gives us the Microsoft Learn server, and the Microsoft Learn server gives you access to the Microsoft Writing Style Guide. So, two things are happening here now. When you call up your GitHub Copilot, it will see your AGENTS.md. Remember how we set that up inside our first of all .github file folder, and inside there you have the Copilot instructions.md, which links to your agents.md. Don't worry, GitHub Copilot will find all of those if you set it up correctly. We're also going to ask it to learn to use the Microsoft Writing Guide. So here I've opened up my file inside drafts that I wanted to do the draft for me. That's just my simple file there. And inside here, I am going to say @learn, L-E-A-R-N. Okay. That's how you call the Microsoft MCP server. Okay, @learn, and I'm going to say proofread the open document for me. Use the Microsoft Writing Style Guide. Make the article flow logically using the points I have stated here. Save your output into the pending folder with the same name as this file, but with draft 1 at the end. Save it as a Markdown file. Okay, that's a bit long-winded, but you'll understand it. There we are. So let's run. And off it goes and does its work. Now, I might have to cut this bit short so that we can get straight to the results. But you can see that it's gone off. It's read my documents. It won't be too hard for it to find where my file structures are because everything is set up there pretty well. And I've got a draft 2 of my file structure in my readme file. That also helps it a lot. And you can see here the improved draft is saved as VS Code for writing draft 1 in the pending folder. Brilliant. Remember to say keep. There we are. Let's now go into our pending folder. There we are. And there's the work. Open that. Here it is. Let me just close this to make some more space and see what you've got here. Using Visual Code for writing. Setting up your file structure, drafting your articles. Brilliant. Okay. So there you are. Hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe if you found it useful, and I'll come and do a bit more on this later on. Thank you. Please remember to like and subscribe.